Indeed, so let's see what GGU will pick up. Now, the 6 bans have come through incredibly quickly.
Yeah.
Of course, this time they got a ban this time, so GGU have chosen 3. They've got a long time to look at their first guy here.
And there's a couple choices they could go for, right? Alpha Sona has been quite strong, but Daydreamin isn't necessarily the Sona player. He plays it a bit, but he would have much rather had Thresh. Of course, that's banned away. And wow, they did not go with what I expected.
So Zion Spartan, we saw him on Jace before, didn't work last time, but maybe they can get a victory here against Counter Logic Gaming with their backs against the wall. And
the reason that Jace pick surprises me a little bit is it's not a contested pick against CLG.
Yeah.
Hotshot GG isn't known for his Jace top lane. Maybe they're worried about Link's mid lane Jace because he's done that a couple times, but that's not like in the front of your mind when you think about what CLG plays. There's contested AD carries pick potentially because Doublelift likes playing Vayne and Caitlyn, but maybe they wouldn't have wanted the first pick that one because you know, they take Caitlyn, Doublelift is going to take Vayne, and Don't Mash Me is also not a Vayne player. The Jarvan would have been a much more contested pick, and we might see if CLG locks that in here.
So I have a question for you on this for GGU. So GGU is a team we've kind of seen play long-range poke a heck of a lot recently.
Right.
Do you think they're like faking it out, like, bros, we're going poke, pick stuff that beats poke, and then switch it around?
Well, in their previous game today, they went all-out poke, and it didn't work out that well. But that was because TSM is probably the best North American team against a poke comp due to how aggressively they can initiate and how just crazy they are when they're going for fights. You can't necessarily run away from that. CLG has had a few problems initiating in the past, but they usually bring some pretty good tanky utility. If GGU is kind of everything on the table, we have to go in. Poke comp has been their most successful thing on the year, and if you pick Jace, that could open up more avenues for poke. They just have to combo it. They could still do something like Nidalee. Jinte could play Twisted Fate. They could do something like Kha'Zix in the mid lane as well, so they may as well, they could go poke.
All right, well, they've locked in their next 2 champions. They've grabbed the Elise, which could be almost anything, really, and the Tristana, which almost definitely AD carry.
Tristana has been making a big comeback, especially with all the late games we've had, because Tristana's got that kind of mid-game lull after the strong early game, but once you hit those 4 or 5 big items, she just starts hyper-carrying. And the Elise, if I had to guess, is jungle, but there's the chance that it's Daydreamin as well. I'm probably willing to write off that would be top or mid lane just based on GGU's history. And for CLG, I'm not sure if they're going to go with old CLG or the new type of CLG we saw a bit of against Mark.
Yeah, if they go aggressively or passively, that will be the story. And of course, you can read a little bit of that from their picks, taking some time. Of course, they've grabbed that more aggressive jungler that you mentioned in Jarvan. Right now, hovering on Misfortune. I don't remember Doublelift ever playing that.
He hasn't played Misfortune, I don't think, in the LCS, but he has played Ezreal, and he actually had a really good Ezreal game last week against I'm a Cutie Pie. He may have been gifted a first blood a little bit, but he still had a really strong game nonetheless. And the Udyr pick is actually pretty exciting because that may well be the hotshot farm 2 waves in the base GG Udyr.
While spamming laugh along the way, at least if you're Dyrus. So Doublelift is going to be on Ezreal. You know, he's said before, like, you can't ban me out. Like, people think, oh, I only play Vayne, I only play Caitlyn. And he's like, but I know all these other champions. I don't know what you think you're doing. And so Ezreal is the pickup here for him. The University making their choices now. I have no idea what they're going for.
This is going to tell us whether they go poke comp or whether they're going for a regular late game comp. They still potentially have to pick their mid and either their jungler or support. Daydreamin is a very good blitzcrank, even though they're hovering back and forth with it, because he's just really good at champions with hooks. We've seen his Thresh play. I've seen his blitzcrank play a little bit in solo queue, and they're really taking their time. GG is one of those teams that waits till the last second to lock things in.
Okay, it looks like Ryze, and it looks like Yorick are the pickups here. We haven't seen him in forever. Jat, tell me about that guy.
This is the first Yorick pick we've seen in either LCS. During Season 2, he was so crazy. A lot of people do like Yorick Cassio or just Yorick with things that supply a lot of sustained damage. Actually, you can kind of compare Ryze to a Cassiopeia without skill shots. It's just a spell-based turret of damage. Tristana could be a hyper carry as well, so it's really all about hoping the Jinte gets big on Ryze or Don't Mash Me gets really big on Tristana, and then Jace is just in there for fun. That's probably going to be a mid lane Yorick, or no,
mid-rise.
Support Yorick. It's a support Yorick. It is definitely a support Yorick.
Support Yorick.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's going to be the thing. I had to process that a little bit.
Sure.
Because I haven't seen a support Yorick in competitive. I've seen a few trolley support Yoricks, but never in competitive.
It's certainly been a while for me. I feel like I've seen Shouster or Elements Runner once in like a great while. Like I remember one somewhere in the back of my mind for what that's worth. And GGU, not a poke comp, absolutely. They're going all in here. CLG looking at their pick, mid Orianna.
And especially not a poke comp when you consider that the Yorick Ghost only has 10 seconds to stay in. So if you're going for a Yorick comp, you are an all-in comp. You have to sustain, chase people down. All right, that's exciting in itself. What crazy strategy by GGU to pull out this pick this late in the season with this much on the line. They still haven't clinched their playoff spot. Vulcan has. GGU could drop this one and then lose a tiebreaker later in the day. I look at CLG's comp as well, and that is, of course, Chowster on Jarvan, Hotshots on Uter. He's played it a bit before. It is a common team comp for CLG. They're actually kind of back on their comfort champions. I wouldn't necessarily say they have a whole bunch of threats. Orianna is somewhat supporty, but it is a CLG comp for sure.
It's definitely very well controlled. So we've got a mix of styles here, really hyper carrying, as you said, versus CLG. It is kind of like their own style, as you said. And once again, these guys are fighting up for it. We're getting into the load screen right here, and who can Mash Me do it against the CLG lineup? We've seen Tristana's carry.
Tristana's today have been out of control, but they've never been out of control from the start. And when Doublelift's Ezreal gets going, he just beats on people. He completely destroys them in lane. The Mystic Shot poke is a little bit too much for them to handle. And I mean, he's been known to, against that I'm a Cutie Pie game, when I'm a Cutie Pie was playing Corki, he doubled his minion kills at one point in that game. So this is very much a survival by GGU until they get in the team fights and can start duplicating Don't Mash Me and Jinte. And another kind of strange choice that we're going to see going into this game is Don't Mash Me has heal as well. All year, when we look at all the AD carries games, they are always barrier or cleanse. This is probably the first heal we've seen out of an AD carry as well.
And that is going to be interesting. And actually, that reminds me, though, because the heal mastery gives you health. So, like, is it possible that actually is more durable than barrier, or is it just for the utility sort of?
No. So what heal is it is a less big-time heal for yourself than a barrier, but it will heal allies for more. So if we saw heals, you'd be more expecting to see it on a support. That's just not what they're doing. Maybe he's using heal just because they're going to be going all in, or because he's a bit crazy.
Maybe a bit crazy. I mean, Mash Me definitely knows how to do some crazy things, but we are into the game, so we won't speculate. We'll let the players prove it to us. CLG on the red hand side. Yes, the right-hand side in red in the top right. They're moving out, kind of grouped up. GG, the same thing coming from the bottom left. They're up to the top hand side of the map.
And I think we pointed this out before, but GGU loves the utility mastery, especially Nintendo decks. I'm pretty sure he has an Explorer Ward and a Total Biscuit on absolutely every jungler. So with all this invade jostling that these guys are doing, running into each other's buffs, there are 3 Explorer Wards that GGU could potentially place, and CLG doesn't have any, I think, unless that was just the one that was spent by Afro.
Definitely a possibility, but GGU have actually made their way all the way into CLG's jungle right now. CLG actually pings out where they think a ward would be and make sure they kind of evade the Wraith Brush. The one on the left, though, CLG puts the ball over the wall. They're moving forward.
And GG was actually all recalling. No, they decided not to recall right this instant. They're running out, though, and I bet you if they would have been a little more patient, they could have just stormed Chowster at that Wraith Brush, but the patience wasn't there. They're going to end up backing away.
In fact, their bottom lane has recalled. They don't want Mash Me or Daydreaming to lose any experience. And it looks like CLG will fight them 2-on-2 as we see Lulu and Ezreal take down Wolves. Hotshot, GG, and Link are helping Chowster with the Wraiths right here. That will go to Jarvan very successfully. There we are watching CLG take down their camp. GGU taking one for themselves. So 2v2, 1v1, and red buff start here for Chowster.
And I think this opening definitely favors CLG. The support Yorick, I cannot imagine him being very good at protecting Don't Mash Me in the lane, so Doublelift and Afro will take every advantage they can in that 2v2. That's the reason that Jarvan actually started red, because CLG wanted to give the Wolf experience to Doublelift and Afro to make sure that they don't get out-level 2'd in this bottom lane.
See how that pans out right here. We can see them mashing up against themselves right here. 1-1 versus 1-1 so far. The levels coming in very, very soon. Ezreal looks for some poke, and Daydream actually down to about 2/3 health early on. Explosive shot comes out as well. Damage back and forth. Nice harass there from Doublelift.
And this could just get a whole lot worse for the bottom lane. You can see Chowster actually jumping over the back, and he might actually decide to harass Nintendo.
Nintendo is going to be right there on the Lizard Camp, and here comes Chowster. Now, will they smite successfully? Actually, Nintendo burned his smite. Chowster,
no.
He's going to get this one for free, isn't he? Right there. And Chowster smites it away. 76 gold. Thank you very much. That's mine.
Whoopsie daisy. So Chowster goes from red to red. That is something that completely caught Nintendo decks off guard. So often these guys get a little confused. You can actually see the question mark ping going down from Nintendo's deck. He's like, what happened? I think my buff is gone. But now the smites are going to sink in the other direction, and Chowster is going to have to fall back because he doesn't want to do the exact same thing for Nintendo that Nintendo just did for him.
In fact, Chester's actually waiting around the sides. Of course, they had a ward right down there, spotting Nintendo coming across. So just that ward there from Elise is not doing too terribly much now. Chester can pull it into the brush. He's starting up now.
And this is a good play for Chester overall. He's potentially going to get 3 of the 4 buffs.
Well, here we go. Aftermoo and Doublelift taking a bit of pain. Continue running around. I don't know if Chester quite picked that up right there. He's actually, no, he has not. He's gone back to his wolves, so these junglers are dancing back and forth a bit. And
Chester is scared of the smite steal, essentially. I think he's waiting for his smite to be up for himself so it can't get stolen from Nintendo decks.
Okay, so it's going to be his play for now. Smite is back up from cooldown. See where Chester moves. Zion Spartan has pushed Hotshot GG up to his own turret, though. Shock Blast does not quite land as Hotshot just farms in turtle stance underneath his turret. But right now it's 23-15. Zion coming out to an early lead there.
And one thing about the new top lane Udyr, right, he doesn't get mana back from his turtle stance anymore. So if Zion Spartan can harass him down early, Hotshot may not be able to sustain that lane.
That could be an interesting kind of complication for him in that lane. But Chowster, though, speaking of sustain, going to grab the blue buff for himself. No, it's Nintendo showing back up, and Chowster's actually losing a lot of health when this is happening. He's out of potions.
Chowster's been going back and forth between this, and they're making him pay potentially for that steal.
Magenta actually pushes damage onto Link as well, but he's pretty much for doing that. Nintendo has not picked up the blue buff still. His is about 1 minute to go from falling off of him. Magenta still looks for damage on the Link. Again, finds Chowster across the wall. Spider Link comes out. Doesn't look for any damage just yet.
And they are still jostling over this buff. It's now 4 minutes and 50 seconds into the game. We don't really know who's going to be getting this as the aggression comes in bottom.
They find it in a whole bunch of pain, but here comes the exhaust onto Mashby. Of course, he has heal, not cleanse. He's not getting a whole bunch of damage yet from that one. Aftermoo taking a bit of pain. Nope, nothing else happening.
And despite all that aggression, no summoners were burned bottom lane except for that one exhaust. So both the AD carries still have all the fight potential they might need.
Here we go. The barrier, yes, is up for Doublelift. Mashmi has heal. Daydreamin has ignite. Keep that in mind when the damage comes out here. Will the sustain be enough from the Doran's Blade? Daydreamin pink wards the river. They know that there's a... Ooh, wow, nice mystic shot from Doublelift. Nintendo now showing up for the top lane, though. Can they find something here?
This is one of these over-gank games, it seems, for Nintendo decks. He spends so much time jostling around Chowster's blue and not much time getting experience. And since Hotshot is just sitting in his turret, I feel like that's just a big waste of time for Nintendo decks up top.
Well, Chowster has smited that away. Hotshot is going to recall back. Has 2 wards in the inventory. Didn't even need to use any in that battle. As Mashmi and Daydreamin don't do much else actually at their bottom lane. Doublelift and Aftermoo have shoved out to the turret.
And with that very late blue take by Chowster, the blue buff won't be up for Link until 10 minutes and 40 seconds. So unless CLG can invade the GGU blue buff, which is very unlikely since Hotshot is so pushed to his turret in this lane, Jinte will actually have a window about 3 or 4 minutes on Rise with his tier where he will have a blue buff and Link won't.
That could be a fun advantage for him. And actually, as we look at the lane matchups overall, you talk about mid versus mid, 40 versus 40. The top lane very, very close as well. Really, all these lanes basically equivalent.
And actually in this top lane, I think you can see Hotshot's a little distressed here. Before he teleported back, he accidentally bought an Oracle's, sold it, and then bought boots. So that would have cost him about 150 extra gold, maybe more. I forget what the sellback percentage on Oracle's is.
Nice attempt there by Link. Almost lands a shockwave, but Jinte did run away from that one in time. So no free gank picked up there. One cooldown down. Again, Link without blue buff, and that won't be coming up for a while. Jinte last hitting successfully in mid. 48 pretty soon to 50. They are matching up pretty closely here.
And you can see that all of CLG's pressure has actually been concentrated on Nintendo decks because the lanes of GGU have not been pressured at all. You can see that two of them are still sitting on that total biscuit, or at least that is Nintendo decks and Jinte are sitting on the total biscuit. Nintendo decks has 18 minion kills. CLG as a team is actually up in a whole bunch of gold, but that's not because the lanes are getting substantially outfarmed.
Not indeed, though. But at the bottom lane, though, look at GGU still trying to push up. It seems to be the one place that GGU are really looking to press some kind of advantage. They're not quite finding anything out of this one. 2 minions missed by Mashmi. Again, more Yorick goes coming down. Now, you mentioned the Yorick lane not able to protect Mashmi all that well, but it seems like they're holding on for now.
They are shoving pretty well, too, which is impressive. I mean, that's one of the things the Tristana lane does do. They have to be careful that they don't get ganked when they're shoved up this far. Stuff comes down for one.
Indeed it is. And they're starting to run away. He had been revealed by a ward. There's a push in from Doublelift looking for damage on a Daydreamin. Can he flash the Flag Toss? He does. Doublelift lands a bit of damage back onto him, but pops the shield. But now CLG, with everyone down here, are starting Dragon.
Hotshot trying to take advantage of being pushed into his turret the whole game. Zion Spartan still on the run down, but GGU is here to contest.
They put up a bunch of damage on a Hotshot, down to half health himself, getting burned down by the Dragon. Not too fun for him, as Zion Spartan wave clears in the mid lane. GGU actually looks for mid instead of the Dragon fight.
GGU's got the double tier of the Goddess right now stacked up. All those total biscuits have been consumed. It looks like that was mainly just a Dragon scare, and now GGU's going to push that mid turret, as you said.
Down to 2/3 health. Link and Chouster are here. Flag toss comes down. Command attack. And it's going to be minions going down. Nintendude only level 4, by the way, while Chouster is 5. You can see the level disparity really pretty important here.
And Nintendo X's Achilles heel almost this whole year has been some of the time he falls behind in games, and then he's not that great at catching back up. So this is going to be one of those tests. They need this win to clinch a playoff berth. If this is one of the worst times you could potentially fall behind, especially if you're dealing with a support York as well, already doing something unconventional.
Well, Mashmi trying to hold himself up in this bottom lane. Down 14 minions, though, in this matchup, so CLG definitely, you mentioned the weakness of the support York. That is starting to build up here for Doublelift, and that could just be too much for GGU to handle. You can see a 500 gold lead now for Counterlogic Gaming as we crest 9 minutes. Now, we had one Dragon Scare so far. Are they going to go for it again soon?
They very well could, but it's going to be about Hotshot's teleport. You can see it's 3/4 of the way off cooldown now, and Hotshot's actually getting a bit of power in that lane since he's got a Chain Vest and his Crystalline Flask is ticking. He's starting to take a little bit of control. As you can see, he's pushing Zion Spartan back a little bit.
That could be pretty good for him right now. We can see he's putting a ward down at the blue buff, GGU's blue buff, I should say, and running back into his lane. Link recalling, and the action, where will it come from next?
And this bottom lane, I know you mentioned the Doublelift is up about 20 minion kills, but it's not that bad yet for GGU. Don't Mash Me is okay in items. He hasn't died, and we know that the Tristana usually comes back farming late game. So the fact that they haven't lost the lane yet isn't that bad for GGU.
Okay, so we'll see, and we'll keep track of Don't Mash Me and what kind of items he can go for here in this matchup. Chouster, he's hit level 6, though. He's looking for some pressure at this bottom lane. We'll see where he goes.
This is another bottom lane gank. They know the GGU is consistently pushing up, and they know that they've already burned Daydreamin's flash. So if they can get any kind of slow coming out from Aphromoo, Chouster might just brute force a gank through and try to get Daydreamin.
Here we go, the last minion will fall, and here he comes on forward. The Whimsy is up. They're going to look for Daydreamin. No, the Buster Shot knocks him back. Daydreamin pops the ult onto himself, walks up to Doublelift, and here comes the Nintendo X counter gank. Chouster down to half health. Oh, a beautiful wild growth keeps the Mash Me rocket jump from landing. No slow on a Chouster. He's going to get out, but Hotshot is in a rough spot. He's actually now stuck inside of GGU's jungle, running through the wolves with his fellow jungle kind. There's the push in from Jinte. Lands the root. There's the jump to the skies as well from Zion Spartan, and first blood will go over to Jinte.
And the worst thing about that for Hotshot is he ran out of mana as he was trying to make the break between the turrets, and it actually allowed Jinte to catch up to him and finish him off there.
And Chouster's going to grab the blue buff over there to his teammate. Jinte gets that, or not Jinte, but a Link grabs that one. But a great early pickup there. Good game. University now tied in gold with the first blood.
And they're trying to push up the mid lane now as well. Nintendo X and Jinte are right in something, and there's the shot onto Jinte.
Yeah, Shockwave lands, but the Cocoon lands back onto Link, so no real damage taken there on either side. Mash is going to keep last hitting there underneath, well, not underneath the turret, but in front of his turret, and trying to catch up there to Doublelift's score.
And it's actually kind of miraculous that GGU was able to escape that last gank. There was a bunch of action that happened immediately after it, so we weren't really able to touch on it, but the Buster Shot timing to make sure that Chouster couldn't jump to his flag completely saved Daydreamin's life. It delayed a potential cataclysm, and it gave time for Nintendo X to arrive for that counter gank.
And beautiful play right there, and I've seen actually just so many amazing Buster Shots throughout the day. The mechanical skill of these players has just been so impressive, honestly. And as we push on through, I mean, we see a bunch of guys cresting over 100 minions here for CLG.
We'll see if Doublelift's mechanics on Ezreal can reach his Twitch mechanic or his All-Star mechanic levels.
That might be a possibility, of course. Zion Spartan looking up for Hotshot. GG, a bit of damage being put down there. It comes kind of right back out, and then right back in, and then right back out.
Hotshot's trying to rush that Frozen Heart. You can already see he's got the Glacial Shroud, and he knows that Sound Spartan will do nothing but physical damage, but it's being pretty tough on him right now. Sure, he's made it down to try and force a Dragon for CLG, and then Sound Spartan got a little bit extra farming, but for the most part, that's been a tough lane so far for Hotshot.
Has been rough for him. You're seeing that 20 minion kill lead. Don't Mash Me, Daydreamin at the bottom. They got Nintendo coming in from the side as well. As they push down on these minions, they put a pink ward down and say, all right, now Nintendo can be back in the darkness as the spider. He's linking from the side.
And Nintendo still hasn't even bought boots on Elise, so he's scaring off CLG a little bit because of that pink ward, but he's going to have to get some mobility soon.
But here comes the counter game potential here from Chouster. Zion Spartan trying to run away. Hotshot GG will look for the stun and bear stance, but he can't quite catch up to Zion Spartan. The boost one just keeping him out of range. And now he's actually going to put some pain a little bit down onto Chowster. Hotshot, though, right in that brush. This could be scary for Zion if they turn back onto him. No, Hotshot will just leave the lane. Chowster will clean it up.
That was one of those greed recalls. He's like, I want to do it here. It's a little dangerous, but I'm going to get away with it anyway. And one of the reasons they couldn't catch Zion Spartan is all 10 of his skill points have been put in Q and E for Jace, so his acceleration gate was giving him 40% or 50% move speed as soon as he ran through it, so they could not catch him in that exchange.
There you go, the quick update on the skilling order for Jace overall. And Zion continues to push down on the top lane. 108 on him. He's actually had a much better time this time than last time we saw him on Jace, farming up quite nicely. The bottom lane, we just keep seeing them kind of bashing heads together over and over again as they just toss skills at each other and the health bars get sort of rejuvenated.
And Don't Mash Me hasn't fallen any farther behind Doublelift than he was about 5 minutes ago. So the Tristana is actually working fine. His items are identical to Doublelift. This is actually, though, the mid-game lull for Tristana, so this would be where Doublelift might be able to attack him. Don't Mash Me's... So the reason Tristana falls off, basically, is her W and her E all do magic damage, and she doesn't get enough range to just rely on auto attacks until late in the game.
And there we go. You can see a little bit of pressure coming back onto her, dropping her below half health. Doublelift, though, still taking that ghoul harass. Of course, he's life-stealing off him a bit, so he's...
Hotshot's teleporting in behind him.
There is the Hotshot teleport coming in. The rocket jump comes across. Will he get the buster shot in time? Right now, it's Hotshot with a double stun. The flash comes out from Daydream, and Cocoon lands on a Hotshot. Mashme kind of in the front right here. He's been exhausted as well. The ult comes across, trying to keep him alive, and he's flashing out towards the turret, but Hotshot GG picks up the kill on a Mashme. He's going to revive back up, and Nintendo looks for Doublelift. Doublelift so low on health. Can Nintendo get the damage out, but he's still trying to chase this one down. Lands Cocoon, lands the Q. Neurotoxin picks up the kill, and now he has to run from Hotshot GG. The Spiderlings are there. Link comes in from the side. He's looking to cut off Nintendo X in the jungle. Still trying to run from Hotshot, goes back into human form, but the ball is there, and looks like he will fall down. Hotshot GG picks up 2 kills, while Zion Spartan kills off a turret.
I bet you Nintendo X wishes he had boots in that situation, because he was running from a very fast bear. It was actually a really good catch to be able to finish off Doublelift near the end of that, but it was a successful gank for CLG in general. Hotshot was able to close down. They made sure Don't Mash Me stop farming for a little while, and now the pressure goes mid.
A nice hook up there from Chowster, forcing the flash away from Jinte. The shield coming out from Link to keep him alive, though. Actually a very, very scary rise here in this battle. And a bit of poke from Link, but otherwise keeping the turret alive. Burns his flash, though.
Ooh, Zion Spartan wants to get Chowster with that shot. His shield is there, but this gives GGU a perfect opportunity for Freak to push back up the middle lane.
Let's see if they can do it there. The minions are mostly gone right here. Jinte full health. It actually looks like they're moving towards the bottom lane instead, maybe even Dragon. Daydream is going to start that one up.
In retrospect, that makes the most sense because they realized Doublelift actually ran all the way towards the top lane. They know they're harassed Chowster, the main steal threat, already back to base, and this is pretty much a free Dragon. Don't Mash Me doesn't even need to move over to it. He's just happy farming bot lane.
Nintendo will repel over the wall, though. Qs it, uses the smite. That is Dragon now picked up. First turret, first Dragon, first blood, all gone to GGU.
And this could very well be a preview of the first round playoff matchup if GGU comes out on top in this one. And this could be a great playoff series with the way this game has started. So close already, and a nice blue steal coming in from GGU.
That is taken. Now Hotshot's going to try to defend against this turret, but looks like he's trying, but he's going to get surrounded. Oh, here comes Rise, and at least they didn't know about this. There's a whole bunch of damage. Hotshot not in a good place. Rocket Jump as well. That is going to go to Don't Mash Me. He picks up that gold. 1-1-1 his score. He's doing nicely.
And CLG's got to start make something happen. Doublelift has been top lane for so long. He's trying to shove it now. He just used his ultimate on a wave, but the reason that GGU was so freely diving that is they knew there was no threat on the map if they actually did dive.
And they just worked beautifully. So you can see Doublelift trying to wear that turret down, but that's only going to bring the score closer. Of course, it's already 2-0 in turrets. This will make it 2-1. Doublelift with that Bloodthirster finish, but the Infinity Edge also finished here for Don't Mash Me.
So Don't Mash Me is getting closer and closer to that crazy Tristana. Tristana should out-carry an Ezreal in most circumstances, unless Doublelift does something absolutely crazy, but he's already went for the Bloodthirster on Ezreal, which will set him back late game a little bit because the Infinity Edge multiplies better than the Bloodthirster, so unless they're getting both of those items, we won't really see the rewards of the Bloodthirster coming in that early. And that was a very good turret for CLG for GGU, because that gives them access to this blue buff.
There we go. So they've started it up. Nintendo kind of waiting across the wall. Doesn't put in a whole heck of a lot. It's just Jinte soloing it out right there. 17.5 minutes in. And of course, today has been the day both of comebacks and the day of upsets. And GGU are looking for another one here for themselves. Up 800 gold, starting to put a little bit of pressure towards the mid lane.
And Link already with that death cap, probably able to spear that lane away. Not spear, just clear that lane away with his tier as well as a death cap. And it's going to be a task for GGU to try to push up this mid lane, but there's already a 1v1 in the bottom, which means the other 4 people of GGU are pushing up mid.
And Hotshot GG, though, is trying to just pull Zion Spartan's attention. You can see him chasing him down on Jace. Lands the Shock Blast. Hotshot still running around, has half a mana bar. Looks like he won't be running out of that one too incredibly quickly. Still running between turrets. That Shock Blast will not hit, and he's gonna get all the way through. Chowster is actually pushing the top lane, and they still have not collapsed onto him.
The whole GGU team pulled back from it, and they're trying to cut him off. Can Hotshot get out of this one?
There's the Rune Prison. He's gonna keep on moving forward. Hotshot Flash is still buying time. Acceleration Gate comes across, and Hotshot, he actually makes it out. Meanwhile, Aphromoo, Doublelift, and Link are putting pressure on the mid lane. Daydreaming, Don't Mash Me, Nintendo trying to keep that one alive, but Hotshot just completely made it out. Wonderful play. Burned his flash, but bought a lot of time.
Just distraction shot GG right there, because that was a very good push opportunity for GGU in mid lane, since Chowster was stuck top in a essentially 3v4, and Hotshot just made him run all the way around the map. Zion Spartan's followed him the whole way, and he wants to kill.
He's got the Mirror Mana active. He's got the red buff as well. Runs through the Acceleration Gate. Looks for another melee Q. Will that be up in time? Lands a little bit of a slow onto Hotshot. Pops the Ignite as well. Will it be enough damage? Might have to dodge the Shock Blast. Doesn't, but he's still not running out of health. Flashes forward. Zion Spartan just chasing Hotshot through a turret and gets that kill.
It was a good run, but Gentleman Jace works out a lot more than Uter does, and he chased him down at the end of the day. He chased him literally from the bottom of the map all the way through the jungle, and then flashed through an inner turret to get him. Hotshot actually ran out of mana, but if that's what it's going to take to kill Hotshot, that opens up so many windows for the rest of CLG.
It really does, and that could just be great for them if they can buy that sort of time. But it looks like they've not bought enough time for that mid turret, as GGU will find their 3rd turret kill of the game, putting them back in the lead there. But there's a Shockwave onto Daydream and forced back, but they find Link now. Again, a beautiful Wild Growth stops another rocket jump. He's so low on health. The Ignite taking Mash Me finds one. Chowster forced to run away. Aphromoo now in the middle of the fight, but here comes the TP in. It's Hotshot GG looking for a fight right here. Can he do much? Nuh-uh, they run back from him.
Gotta keep in mind, Doublelift isn't here. He's all the way in the bottom lane trying to get those turrets. So again, GGU is on the run, and Hotshot, I think, is gonna try to distract them and make them not be able to get down there.
No, Mashme is trying to run away. Hotshot is whimsied up, doing a bunch of damage in Phoenix Dance. We see if she Doublelift just ran away from that turret. Cocoon lands on a Hotshot, they're turning back in on this one. They dodge the Glitter Lance. Aphromoo could be the next target of attention. He is not going to be. Doublelift made it out of the bottom lane. Again, 3-2 in turrets, but CLG putting the pressure on.
This game is going to get really interesting, because you can tell that GGU kind of wants to fight, but they're very willing to try to chase down CLG members and get rid of them. The turrets are still in the favor of GGU, but I don't feel like that's going to last for long, just based on the strategy that CLG is trying to pull off. So CLG wants to split push, get turrets down, and essentially just win by building advantage. And I wonder if GGU has the initiation and the savvy to chase them down and make the kills happen.
And we'll see if CLG can build that advantage with turret kills. They have been moving across the map quite nicely. And I like looking at the jungler updates, because very briefly, Nintendo did have more minion kills than Chowster, but now Chowster was shot back up above him with that side lane farm. And now on your screen, you can see the gold totals from the players.
And it's really important there that Chowster got that side lane farm, because in a couple of the games on Jarvan in the past, he hasn't been able to initiate without just immediately exploding, and he really needs the aura items for the few members of his team that are with them when they're trying to pull off all these split push antics.
Okay, so right now, it's GGU holding up on the mid side, and Doublelift still on the bottom. I mean, we talk about CLG split push, and it's certainly what is happening here. Not many teleports needed for them to do this, though. They're starting now on the blue buff, kind of controlling all their advantages. Doublelift had already grabbed the red buff here. They're going to put Link on the blue one.
And the Dragon is also up in 20 seconds here, so CLG may want to fight here. This is also one of GGU's best opportunities to try to force a big fight.
Okay, we'll see if they can get that fight going down. The ward coverage starting now on both sides. Doublelift making his way in the front. Hotshot clears out mid. Hotshot does not have teleport for this one, so if he wants to make it a 5-on-5, he'll have to run down. Look for Nintendo there. The slow is there from Chowster. This is not looking great for Nintendo. Can he jump up into the air? He looks like he's going to dodge a little bit of the Cataclysm, and he comes down to the other side of the wall, actually. Nintendo, wow, he makes it out with a flash.
But that might have been enough harass to just give CLG this free Dragon. Nintendo Dex is the one who would have to smite it, so CLG, I feel like, is going to go all out on this Dragon, trying to get it down. I don't know if GG's going to fight him.
It's down below half. Will they get the Acceleration Gate Shock Blast? No, they won't. Nothing picked up there. CLG, an uncontested Dragon pickup, puts them now ahead in gold. 5-2 in kills, but CLG controlling the map. As you said, that's the way they play and the way it's working.
And I think one of the big things for them in potential team fights is the fact that Hotshot GG does have that Frozen Heart, so that will slow down Don't Mash Me's scaling into the late game at least a little bit. Also, Jace is full physical damage, so Hotshot is actually very hard to kill unless Jinte goes all out on him.
This is going to be hard for them to do that. So we can see Hotshot just, and he willingly tanks himself in front of the turret. He's like, yeah, guys, you got 4. It's just me. Hit me instead. Don't kill my turret. And it works out. That tanky Hotshot build just does seem to be putting out dividends. Q comes out the Shock Blast, stopping Hotshot's recall, and he says, great, I'll just do it again.
And to give you some examples of how tanky Hotshot might get in the future, shields synergize so well with huge amounts of resistances. That's why Hotshot has gotten that Frozen Heart right now. So 200 armor when he's got an Orianna ball on him. When you have 200 armor, that essentially means you need to do 300 physical damage to do 100 actual damage to Hotshot, right? So the 220 damage Turtle Shield means 660 physical damage actually has to be placed on him. You consider that Link throws a Command Protect on him. Late game, that's going to be another 600, which is actually 1,800 physical damage. And Hotshot could maybe be impossible to kill if all the shields go on him in late game teamfights.
That's going to be a scary proposition because Man-Bear Turtle Phoenix Tiger can do a fair bit of damage. You can't kill him off. He's going to keep doing that to you. Science partner running around through an acceleration gate. Hotshot GG on the split push. And I just want to keep looking at these minion kill totals because look at Link and Doublelift. 235, 239, well in first place in this game.
And I think a lot of it has to do with how much GGU has been chasing CLG around. Again, Hotshot's in the bottom lane. CLG is freely farming in the middle. You can see Doublelift is up in the top, just shoving out that lane as well. But everyone at GGU is back in base. They're running around. They're trying to react to CLG instead of dictating the pace to them.
And that's just classic CLG. You see how well they control that. And as they move around, you talked about Doublelift, we've talked about Hotshot. It's going to be Zion Spartan fighting heads up against that. But again, you mentioned that Frozen Heart Rush. He's just so tanky about this. And now we go Hotshot running through Zion. We've seen this before. It's going to happen again. They're going to chase Hotshot through the jungle.
The sequel, will they be able to collapse on him this time? Hotshot's taking a different route because he wants to avoid Jinte. And Zion Spartan really needs to finish that last Whisper if he wants to dent Hotshot's turtle stance.
All right, now the shell is uncracked right there. Don't mash me in the top lane. Farming out, so finally pulling a Doublelift for himself and getting some minion kills on that Tristana. Link, of course, repeatedly shoving out that mid lane.
We'll see if they can continually keep the pressure in this mid lane, or if Doublelift can get farther and farther ahead and farm. That 20 minion kill advantage that Doublelift has had over Don't Mash Me has been stagnant for the last 15 minutes, but it looks like that turret's going to fall.
And this is going to be CLG's third turret kill of the game. And there we go, Hotshot GG and Zion Spartan into a battle. Hotshot willingly fighting this one, and Zion says, you know what, you're right. I'm going to run away from you. Pops the acceleration gate. And he's going to go ahead and try to last it under the turret. Here comes a fight in the middle of this one. Nice shockwave comes off. Hits almost everybody. Nintendo knocked up into the air as well. This is a very risky thing for GGU. Chester in the mix. Here comes Hotshot as well. Jintae's going to be just blown up right there. But they find 1-for-1. It's Mashme. Can he find anything? Link getting chased down. Zion Spartan. 1 hit to go. He finds it. It's now Aftermoon. Another kill picked up. Now Mashme 1v2 against Hotshot GG and Doublelift. Can he get away? Pops the E, getting just melted down. He's going to blow up right there. Only 2 members alive on each team.
Total 3 for 3, very aggressive dive. I have to say, Jinte coming in from the flank and catching 3 CLG people in a huge AoE is really what prevented GGU from losing that fight farther. I think Hotshot had a really good flank as well, getting onto Jinte after that, but that was a very well-played fight from both angles, and I think CLG might get some kind of turret edge off of this, but Nintendo X and support Daydream might be here to stop.
Well, he's trying to hit Doublelift right now, but the turret is going to go down. CLG will not chase anything off of this one. So we've seen fights now. We've seen map control go to CLG's edge. They're doing a really, really good job here. What does GGU do to turn this around?
GGU needs to find a way to actually corral CLG. So I mean that is getting armor penetration or something to deal with Hotshot. I don't know if they can actually do that. If they can't deal with Hotshot, they need to find very strong ways of going all in on some of their initiations and ignoring Hotshot. The last time that we saw Hotshot on Udyr, he was like 1 in 6, but tanking 2 waves in the middle of the base, and I think this was against TSM. TSM just straight up ignored him and went for Baron. GGU might have to do a similar thing if they can't find an answer for what Hotshot is doing right now.
What about hyper late game and saying, great, we'll just hold on against your lanes and get a 6-item Tristana? Does that work as well?
It could, because at that point, Don't Mash Me, if you get something like a Frozen Mallet, might be able to kill Hotshot GG, but it's a matter of can they get to that point if they're not dealing with Hotshot GG or forcing them into situations? What the split push like this does by CLG is it accelerates the thinking process of GGU, and it doesn't let them say, let's wait till 50 minutes, because they're forced into so many decisions so quickly.
Okay, so we'll see if they can make a correct decision here in the next couple of minutes. For what it's worth, Hotshot GG actually managed to accidentally steal away the blue buff from Link, so Link will be without this for the fight. Just a Tear and double Doran's Ring to give him mana. but his mana bar's pretty full right now. Might not be too big of an issue in the impending fight. GGU have grouped themselves toward the mid lane, but Hotshot GG, forever the split pusher, is at the bottom.
I don't know how accidental that blue buff steal could have been. Link does have a Tear of the Goddess, and even though Hotshot is already at 40% CDR, he will never run out of mana while spamming these turtle stances or phoenix stances in the base while they're doing this. And this is the Baron force that we were just talking about. GGU is planning to ignore Hotshot GG. Hotshot will either have to take this turret or teleport in for a fight if CLG contests.
Well, there's the Jarvan flag. GGU is still staying on it right now. Daydream taking a bit of poke. They put the cocoon down. They could go on double lift. He's down about half health, but GGU have not pushed into this one yet, and Hotshot will still push down on the bottom lane. GGU dancing back and forth. Acceleration gate. Shock blast comes across.
Baron is regenning up to full, and the longer GGU runs away, the more time Hotshot gets.
And there's the beautiful Chaucer initiation just hitting everybody. 2 kills picked up now for double lift. Chaucer's going to fall down. Can they turn this one back around? Double. So low on health. Smash me. One more attack to go. Oh my gosh, the burst back onto him. Will he die to the red buff? He does not die to red buff. They're going to chase that onto Link, but Hotshot is still pushing down. They get their 3rd kill of the fight, 3 for 2 in this battle. Mashby getting chased down by Aphromoo. Can he get the kill? He does. Aphromoo makes it 3 for 3, and Hotshot now inside of the base. Daydream and trying to defend it.
Kill secured, 3 for 3, but the advantage definitely for Hotshot. I have to say, he does not care about Daydreaming, and there's actually a second man coming in to try to stop him from this inhibitor. I don't know if they can do it.
Well, he's going to go for the 2 the skies, trying to deal some damage here. They slow ghoul off as well, knocking Hotshot back. He's just fighting Zaya Spartan right now, doing a bunch of damage, still chasing the bear stun as well. No, it's not going to be good for Hotshot. He flashes backwards. Do they have the slow? Do they have the stun? They put the acceleration gate down, pops through a ward, and no, GGU forced to run away. Hotshot getting away from the 1v2.
Can't catch that guy. He's too quick. He only had to run away because there were a 3rd and 4th person coming for GGU. I think he actually could have won the 2v2 against that. He does get the red buff away from Daydream and then just meanders away from that one. I have to say, I was a little surprised that CLG forced that fight so hard. It almost got turned around with them by Jinte.
Well, there's the exhaust. Though Zion Spartan finds himself a kill. Oh, man. Aphromoo took a whole long time trying to take away the blue buff, and then Zion walks up and says,
Well, he helped him with it. Aphromoo gave him the blue buff and then became a blue buff himself and gave it away to Ephraim, or to Zion Spartan.
Wow, they're sharing with other teams now. It's so nice, man. These guys are so friendly here. CLG Chaucer, they're starting off in the Dragon. This one, he's sharing with his team and not the opponent's. This will be theirs very securely. I don't think CLG's lost a Dragon all game that I can remember.
They've been keeping the map pressure up just in general. Hotshot actually trying to kill the Spiderlings as well, just making sure he gets all the minions on the map. And the farm across the board for CLG is high because of the way they've been playing. The only thing Hotshot is a little bit vulnerable to is the entire team.
They find a little bit of damage, but Mash might have overstepped his balance. Rocket jumping into the team. They go in now. Chaucer in the center of attention, trying to just jump away from this one. Here comes the repel. Nintendo is there. Lands a neurotoxin, but there's the shockwave hitting onto 3. That is not good for GGU, but they still chase on forward. They've got low health bars on CLG members. Mashme is healthy himself and just wave clearing this mid lane.
And what GGU actually wants is this 5v5. Even if they're a little bit lower than CLG, they want to take this fight. They can get the duplication like they did in the last fight when Jinte went down early and the Yorick Ghost came up and he was able to keep spamming damage. So CLG wants to get out of this situation of having 5 people in the mid lane as quickly as possible.
Shock blast comes across, doesn't quite find much of anything. Aphromoo still with a bit of ward control. Double lift comes across the wall, doesn't find anything to hit right there. He's got 3 completed items: Trinity Force, Last Whisper, and Bloodthirster. Don't mash me. A little bit of a different build, actually. Look at that.
I think he's going for a potential 6 item, like the Last Whisper is there, and he's also got part of his Blade of the Ruined King. So he's building components of each of the items. He wanted to probably upgrade his Vamp Scepter because he didn't have quite enough gold to finish the Last Whisper, and he just wanted as much temporary power on his next trip out of the base because he knew what a crucial moment in the game this was.
Well, here we go. The teleport is up for Hotshot GG, and GGU once again starting off onto Baron Nashor, down to half health. Flag comes across from Chaucer.
And CLG actually has to go for this one. Hotshot should teleport and stop this because there's no inhibitor threat. That Baron's going down too fast.
Bolt comes across from Double. If they're going to start spiking it down, and the smite, it will come out. Blue team has slain Baron Nashor. It was nice they waited out the flag toss and no flash was available. They continue going in. He lands the stun. That's going to be onto Chaucer. Will they keep on chasing down? Hotshot's in the bottom lane. It's a 5v4. They're moving on in. Will they have the damage they need? Double getting down very, very low, but they run back from the Orianna ball. Shockwave had just come back up from cooldown. Chaucer's recall was stopped. Hotshot still pushing in the bottom lane, though, up to the inhibitor.
And a split push extravaganza is going down right now. They sent Jinte back for Hotshot. He thinks there's going to be more people, so he's dancing back and forth. But GGU is hard pushing up the mid lane, and Hotshot still has his teleport if he wants it.
Okay, he's still running around in GGU's jungle. The second now this inhibitor turret's going to fall, they're going to start running away. Zion Spartan with the acceleration gate, and now both teams have an open inhibitor, but GGU has Baron.
So I gotta say that was a failed split push attempt overall by CLG. GGU forced the decision. Well, CLG forced the decision, but GGU took it and made the right one. CLG did not go into contest that. They didn't want to 5v5 at Baron, and Hotshot was not in position to push down the inhibitor.
Beautiful play right there. Hotshot just couldn't get himself in there, and GGU found the right thing to do. Paralyzed. You mentioned the decisions getting hastened in their mind. They have to make really split-second decisions and just go for something. These seems like they found the right decision here. What's next for them?
I think the next thing for CLG is to try to turtle it out and wait for this Baron to go down. Or it's a matter of just sending Hotshot back in that bottom lane and letting the whole team chase him for a while, right? It's actually probably going to burn about a minute if Hotshot actually gets chased down. You can see all the armor, magic resistant move speed he has in this. The thing that GGU would want to do after that, though, is if Hotshot's not there, they're just going to 5-push up mid and take that inhibitor. So CLG doesn't necessarily want either of those things to happen, and they're kind of a victim of whatever GG wants to do at this point.
We'll see if they can slay the victim or turn themselves back into the hunters here in this battle. There's a Cocoon on the Hotshot taking a bit of punishment, but he is still a tanky bear, and he's going to be okay for now. Even takes a little bit of poke. Of course, he's got oracles and is denying vision here from CLG. But Jinte and the crew look like they want to go for that inhibitor that you mentioned. They are moving in.
And Don't Match Me has hit that last Whisper threshold where he's actually able to do damage to Hotshot GG. So this is a very difficult hold for CLG. Even if they get a pick on a Jinte or Don't Match Me, the Yorkult is going to pull him back in.
They move on in. This is going to be Chowster in the middle of everyone. The ult's coming across everywhere. Chowster's going to fall down. GG looking for a fight right here. Jinte has been cloned. He's going to be coming right back up. If you're 1-for-1, but here comes the stun on the double it. Can they find enough damage? And now onto Link. Oh my gosh, his health bar just disappeared. And GGU, it looks like it's been a 2-for-0, but it's actually going to be Jinte falling over right now. Double it gets crit in the back, and Matchney finds another kill. This could be GGU finding their win on the day. The second Nexus turret will be going down, and GGU has secured themselves into the playoffs.
That was the fight that GGU wanted, and they got it as soon as they saw the opportunity. 34-minute win. GGU makes the playoffs. What a game.
That was absolutely beautiful, and there we go. Nintendude and Zion Spartan found a way to shake hands properly in the post-game. That was probably the biggest turning point for them, the synergy showing up right there. Amazing performance by GGU. So, we know 5th and 6th. It's GGU and Vulcan, but we don't know in what order.
And it took them until the last regular season game of the spring split to learn how to do the handshake. That's probably why they won the game. They had the synergy finally worked out. Elise and Chase could finally work in concert with each other. And that's tough for CLG, man. Because even though this game